Howdy, New York. Dime store cowboy all the way from Texas. At your service. Yeah, yeah they're better looking than me. Don't take me as an example. I guess I should start with a joke because I'm just not in the mood to get into the serious subject of today's topic. It's boy that was badly stated. Anyway, uh, yeah, I go a little bit into this idea that you always have to, be, you know, talking positive about yourself and positive self-image and all of that. You know, humor is great. Southern humor, a lot of times it's joke on yourself. And no one can be offended. Just and it's a polite way, and it's a good way. You know, and it doesn't mean that you're about to jump off a cliff. So depressed. It has to do with thankfulness. And I am thankful to be alive, and glad to like to thank my mother. She had a lot to do with it. Oh yeah, my dad. Yeah, yeah. And then there's all the other people that helped me along the way. I can thank Nestle again. A cup behind me over here. Yeah, Nestle's quick. Chocolate, of course. Yeah. And I like to thank Big Linux. Big Linux is what I'm using right now. Big Linux. So Linux distribution in Brazil, and man, they need a lot of praise. I couldn't get my sound. I'm an ignorant old man, not up with all this technology. And so, yeah, and Big Linux, I got it fixed. Got the sound right. It's easy to use, based on Arch, Manjaro. It's just fantastic. They really deserve big donations. If you donate to me, maybe I'll do it. But I'm pretty poor. Anyway, but yeah, I'll just continue with the humor just a little bit. When I had a friend that really was compared to me, especially, but from Alsace-Lorraine, region, and very athletic. lived lived up above. I shared an apartment up above this dude from Kentucky. Yeah, he's from Kentucky. His name was unusual. Um, Bentley, yeah, name of a car. Bentley was in his name. Uh, he could play the banjo. Oh my God! And he had great soup. So we were young fellas. He invited us down, to have soup, and he'd play his banjo for us. He was really, really great guy. I guess he was, I don't know, he's a really fun guy. Mostly but he never had anything positive to say about me. Never. Yeah, and, he'd start to say anything about me. I'm like, but a friend, he's always compliments for it's that was a typical thing. No, I could deal with that. That happened a lot. Women all fell for him too. So anyway, he says one day he says, you know, let me tell you something. And I said, what? That's okay, Beth. That's all right. Expecting, something really, really unpleasant. He says, oh no, let me tell you. You know what you'd make a good one. That's just, it's all right. It's all right, Bentley. I don't need to know. That's fine. That's, well, you're bad, Joe. You really good. And he says, no, now, let me tell you what you'd make a good one. Okay, Bentley. Tell me. He says, and don't take it's wrong now. Don't take it's wrong. And then, like I say, but that nose in those ears, and don't take it's wrong now, but you know what you'd make a good one? You'd make a good clown. You really would. Yeah, the longest time after that, I look in the mirror and go, did I miss my comment? Yeah, maybe I did. Yeah, but I don't know how, I didn't know how to get one of those big red noses. Oh. So, anyhow, now we go on to the somewhat more, perhaps less entertaining, but important spiel that I'm going to make today. Um, Toxic helplessness, aces, and damaged faith and love. Um, Toxic helplessness. Anybody's coined that phrase yet? If they haven't, then they probably will eventually. Helplessness is something that no mammal can have. And it comes about because you're helpless to get your needs met. Whether that's to get away, to fight back, or to get some basic core need met, especially early childhood, adverse childhood experiences, ACEs. That occurs. That's kind of a name they've given for this phenomenon, I say, especially in childhood, which has to do with developmental needs. Now, then we say damage, faith, and love. A lot of the differences between these perspectives is just your perspective. But damage, faith, and love is a phrase that I talk about. It's connected to inner mind communication theory and practice and philosophy. And yeah, it's a little milder kind of a statement. It's like you've got toxic helplessness. It's kind of harsh. You have aces, no milder. Damage, faith, and love with them. Said that. Yeah, so damage, faith, and love is just any milder form. And so let's get into what is toxic helplessness. Toxic helplessness, something that often is a part of ACEs as well, is again that helplessness around needs and the inability to. It gets to the point that it's toxic to feel the need, express the need, express the feelings you're having around that need not being met. Uh, it's a helplessness that is so bad that the brain jumps in to save you from the intense anxiety, and that's that's pretty serious. You know, it's a much more serious thing. It can occur even before you have language. Another subject I'll talk about one day. Despite the myelination of the cells not being there. But you know, let's see. Oh, but so anyway, that's very serious level, and that can be very borderline in terms of intermind communication. To the point where you have some of that, and you sense that coming up. Or there are signs of that. Yeah, when that sort of thing is predominant, is a big impact on your life. It's at that borderline where you're going to maybe need a professional to deal with that. That means somebody safe on the outside, giving you that extra sense of safety, and someone who understands the process of unlearning that helplessness, of getting to that to the needs underneath that helplessness. But I am a inner mind communication IMC. Inner mind communication is can do that in a much more gentle way than I before. But you know, you might want professional there, and there might be a point where you need psychiatric care as well. People with clear psychiatric disturbances, very, very young children or whatever. IMC is inner mind communication is a training for adults. Yeah, and when you're dealing with the mind still in development, you know, up until the age of 25, again, a borderline ready. But that's when they might also be more open to change. So, well, get a good physical evaluation. See your PCP and get an okay. Yeah, because until you're 25, your brain's still maturing. After that, you know, there's a maturation that occurs. You know, it's not the actual brain changing still a maturation that goes on throughout your life, but up until the age of like 35. So it's interesting that there was a sense of this, in true adulthood, uh, maybe a baby adult, but yeah, at 35, the, the founding fathers states they saw the wisdom of making sure someone was 35 years of age in order to be serve as president, and had some age restrictions again for the Senate, and I think I'm not sure that there were on the House Congress. Now, so those are things to consider with communication. Therapists who want to use inner mind communication free to do so. It could use a lot more study, and a lot more research and peer reviews. Processes. There are many ways to use it. It's very flexible. Okay, that's on the subject of toxic helplessness. ACEs, any adverse childhood experience. Some degree of helplessness involved with all of these. But some milder things are there. Case. Toxic helplessness produces symbolic need. Second, sorry about that. It's at the point where you create, the brain creates symbolic need to replace the real need. And that's true to some extent with all of these three areas I'm talking about. And empathy is very key in doing that in a gentle way and keep it within your comfort zone. That means you're having a therapist make sure that they help you feel safe to feel. If they don't, get somebody else for you. And they have their own problems, everybody. Everybody's, if they're a healer, they're a wounded healer. Nobody's perfect in this world. Don't buy into the idea that there are. That's the mark of somebody's trying to make you a mark. Okay. No gurus. Real gurus, everybody working together in love. It's it happens now and then. Isolated situations. So acism can be like that, but it's also can be, milder things where the person is more aware of the needs that they had and not getting them. Whereas with the other, it's the person may not even be aware they desperately need it. And so adverse experiences is a little milder version. May include some degree of helplessness, but not extreme. It's toxic. Damage, faith, and love. That's where you're fully aware. Your damage. And you're not, it's not necessarily, can be, there's some toxicity that can exist with ACEs and with damage, faith, and love. Um, but the predominant thing might not be um, toxic at first in any extreme way. So, I mean, damage, faith, and love, everybody suffers from, healthiest person alive, loved and cherished person that exists um, will have some damage, faith, and love. Now, if your major problem is damage, faith, or milder things, you might be able to do IMC on your own. If you're suffering for ACEs, and that's like a point scale and all that, you might need it might still be a useful practice for you that you might. If you're dealing with toxic helplessness, which is more intense, yeah, that's you at least need a guide and someone who's been there, by the way, and not just any therapist. Someone who's experienced it for themselves, the process, understands the process of healing, and has been thoroughly trained. And I would say the best place to go, but it's very expensive time. They could benefit from using these. See techniques and help that be smoother process, but they're very expert, and I can recommend Channel Primal Center, San Angeles, toxic helplessness, which they call primal pain. So you might do the practice and have good, strong repression, functional life. Yeah, you might be able to help yourself, and with a little bit of training first, of course, but you're going to be able to help yourself a good deal as a private practice using these techniques. ACEs, you can, but if you're aware that you have ACEs, seriously consider getting a little extra help. But yeah, you could do the practice on your own, probably. It's a matter of training. But it's just like with yoga or you know medical, uh, thinking of the medical model, uh, the exercises. There's you really need with those things too. I mean, you can do it on your own. You need to be cleared before you train, and it's the same thing with I. So but it's also lays the groundwork for a philosophy as well. I mentioned I was going to say something. Video, the last video. Well, philosophy is don't have a punishing attitude. Uh, make sure the voices of church, state, media, government are independent, not controlled or limited by the others entirely. But in communication, all of these, the three empathies: creative, objective, and compassionate. Uh, these all dramatic self in you, and the media, church type organizations, government. Um, these need to communicate with business, which means all trading partners, and not demoting some of them by calling them workers. They're not an extra office. They're a trading partner. You give them respect, independence. From this philosophy, you need unions. They need a voice. They deserve a voice. So that's part of the philosophy. As far as don't take a punishing attitude. When people commit crimes and so on, you try to heal them spiritually, which means connect. That kind of healing is the main focus of IMC, and it means connection to the empathies. Who does this not work for? People with certain kinds of brain damage or mutations, psychopaths, sociopaths. He may not be able to develop these things at this point with our technologies that we have. But they're still valuable people. They're people we can learn from. So we might need to separate people from others so that further harm doesn't take place. You have to have disincentives, so you still need laws. But the thing is, your aim is to heal. That's an important thing to realize and to do. Process of healing, again, which I've said before, is that you need to feel the needs and be able to express your needs and feelings and circumstances in which you felt helpless. You need to connect to those areas so that you can really know your own real needs. Again, like Jesus said, money or mammon is the root of all evil. Now, that symbolic need. You can't be satisfied by symbols. And that happens a lot with aces and damage, faith, and love. All the degrees of helplessness that afflict our lives. It's very important to You unlearn that helplessness. That means feeling what you weren't safe to feel then. Okay? Feeling it, seeing it, um, and contextualizing it. Just, reacting to the context. So, once you do that, once you're in touch with the real needs, you realize those needs are not losses. Um, and then you have the opportunity to grieve those losses and let them go, which is very helpful to being able to forgive yourself and others. And that is very helpful in terms of confronting where the hurt in you hurt others, damage faith and love, cause you to hurt other people. That's repentance. So you forgive in order to find full and have in full remorse and change, where you have begun to be a different person, spiritual rebirth. So this change is very important and enlivening. So I've given you a message here. It goes pretty deep. And there are many other opinions. There's always opinions about any subject, including these. So, if I provide links, and I don't know whether they show up, I suppose they have to do something fancy to make it clickable. I haven't figured that out yet. High IQ person. But yeah, that's that means when I mention sites and things like that, that doesn't mean I agree or disagree or anything. That kind of expansion is useful to provide context and ways to believe in or to doubt the things that I have to say. I try to include some of that in the discussion. Well, call it. Yeah. There's an area with YouTube where you put in what's this about, right? Okay, good. I try to include things in there. Yeah. So I always do that, always compare and contrast. Remember, faith without doubt is like driving around in a car with no brakes. Okay. So I'd like to, as I say, I always like to say namaste at the end. Such a beautiful word that means basically all that is transcendent, good, loving, in me, honors that in you.